Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Eugene Vindman of Virginia. He is a member of the Armed Services Committee.
Congressman, it struck me that the sound that we just played, the lawmakers sound just incensed and irate. And I'm wondering if you share that same sentiment, because as this story was unfolding today, to me, this is about secrecy. This is about the sidelining of career military leaders. It's about a lack of transparency. And I just bring your attention to Admiral Halsey. OK, this was from the New York Times on October 16th. While Admiral Halsey has been the highest ranking military officer overseeing the airstrikes, the decision to carry them out, this is about those boats, has been driven by the White House. And the strikes themselves have been conducted by Special Operations Forces, with Admiral Halsey largely cut out of the decision-making. This is a foreign policy that does not seem to have guardrails, sir.
Well, look, we're talking about life and death. The president claims we're in a war. It's important we get this right. And from today's hearing, frankly, I left with more questions than answers.
More questions than answers. Here's another thing I have questions about. I'm sure you saw what the president put on Truth Social shortly before his meeting with Xi Jinping. Let me read it to you. Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. Okay, so let's talk about all the things that are wrong with this. One, does he not know the difference between nuclear weapons and nuclear capabilities? Does he know the difference but is choosing to share the existence of nuclear weapons? And while he probably thinks that this is somehow acting as a deterrent, are you at all concerned that he just set off a nuclear arms race?
The president is very much shooting from the hip. The United States has tested nuclear weapons more than China and Russia combined. And we don't need the president shooting from the hip, injecting uncertainty into nuclear testing or anything to do with nuclear weapons. I mean, the prudent thing for him to do is, frankly, back off of what he said, recognize that he made a mistake if he was looking for leverage. This was not the way to do it.
Well, to that point, Congressman, you know, look, I've always believed when it comes to Trump, he's living in the 1950s. It's a 1950s view of the American economy. It's a 1950s view of our relationship with our allies when it comes to things like tariffs. There's a 1950s view when it comes to what we're seeing playing out now with Russia. You're absolutely right, sir. Between Russia and the United States, we own the nuclear corner. 90% of all the nukes in the world rests in those two spots. So the idea of testing has ramifications for sure, but it also speaks to a different time. I was struck by what the vice president had to say. I'd like you to listen to it, and we can have a little chat about it on the other side.
I think the president's truth speaks for itself. We have a big arsenal, obviously. The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly.
Is that how our nuclear program works? I mean, is that the plan? We just test it? I mean, it's like I got to go outside and sort of test drive the car to make sure it's working.
Turn the sprinklers on.
Turn the sprinkler system on and see if that's working. How about if I go flip a few light switches and see if they work? I mean, what are these folks talking about? Do they really understand what's at stake here when they make these types of moves and what it means geopolitically?
Sorry. No, they really don't. Look, the nuclear arsenal is tested on a regular basis. Every component of the nuclear arsenal is tested. There are supercomputers that are modeling this stuff. We've tested these systems repeatedly. There is no need to do a sort of live fire test of a nuclear weapon. It has been done since the early 90s, and
George Bush
opens up a Pandora's box that we don't want to get into. So, I mean, it's nonsense. It's poorly thought through. I think, you know, the VP is trying to cover for the president, who's obviously shooting from the hip. That's my take on it.
What is just so wild to me, Simone, is how all these stories begin to connect, right? You can't just talk about what is happening off the coast of Venezuela. You can't just talk about the fact that the president of the United States has repositioned one of our largest ships, has taken it away from a place where it was intended to be in the Mediterranean near Europe, where there are multiple conflicts raging, decided to replace it in a place where he has a dubious set of actions going on, a constantly evolving rationale for why it is. And in all of it is giving Congress absolutely no oversight, right? I mean, he is not allowing them to do the very basic functions of their job.
It is so true. And I said this earlier in this week, and I think that it is unfortunately a continuing theme for the next couple of months, if not years. Our Constitution is not weakened. Our Constitution itself is strong. What is weak and what is dangerous about this moment is the political will of the people and entities and organizations and institutions that are supposed to be the guardrails to defend it. And Congressman, as a taxpaying citizen, I am pissed off. As a lady from Nebraska, okay, I got a 402 phone number still. I am irate that there are not more members of Congress, more Republican members of Congress who are not standing up for the American people in this moment, who are not asserting their duty as a co-equal branch of government.
Well, look, it's not much reassurance, but inside the classified room, there were Republicans that were vocal and that had a problem with what, in my mind, and many others, amount to illegal strikes. I mean, we have a situation where there's evidence sufficient to kill these people, and they're drug traffickers by all accounts, although that's not completely proven. Scores of strikes, scores of people killed, dozens of strikes. And Republicans complain about it behind closed doors, but they're too afraid to come out and complain about it to the public. And it's undermines our authority as a Congress, the constitutional authority to declare war, oversight. It's really, these Republicans are ceding the power of Congress to the White House.
Speaking of the power of Congress, let's talk about something that is happening in your home state of Virginia. This headline from the New York Times just yesterday: in fight for control of Congress, Virginia House takes a step towards a new map. Your state is now the latest to get involved in this redistricting conversation that is happening nationwide. Do you support what Dems in the State House are doing?
Well, look, the Democrats in Virginia are prepared to fight fire with fire. We didn't start this fight. The president has directed his minions in Texas, in North Carolina, in Kansas, Missouri, and other places to redistrict. And the answer is quite simple. Democrats in Virginia didn't start the fight, but they're willing to finish it. This is all about making sure we have the option to take a referendum to the people. In these Republican states, it's the Republican legislatures they're acting by fiat. And we cannot unilaterally disarm. And so I'm proud of what Virginia Democrats are doing, and we have to fight fire with fire.